Man, finally.
Yo, what's good, bro?
Okay, so I figured it out. Well, I saw this online, but I didn't know if it was true.
Yeah.
Because of what's been going on, you have to download something, and
hmm
it's pretty much an encrypted way for Zoom to ensure that your chat is private. No one is going to be
I see.
to get in. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they caught a lot of heat the first few weeks, and they were getting all these hacks and stuff. I know a lot of schools in Oakland specifically got like a lot of hackers, and my little brother's school in Oregon also got hacked like on their first week.
hmm was it like
Yeah.
anything particular? Were they targeting anything particular, or it was just
No, I think they were just like putting just like a whole bunch of dumb shit, like
just
like in
typical
the
hack?
chat. Yeah, just
Uh-huh.
like spamming random stuff.
Got it, got it. Well, thank you
Yeah,
again, man, for even doing this. Like I said,
yeah,
my
man.
my bad
I
again.
appreciate you.
No, dude,
I
there,
feel
there
it.
there's a lot of questions that I genuinely had, and one of the things I wanted to ask, because you do a lot of Photoshop stuff, or at least a lot of people
Yeah.
big in the Photoshop game. When I was skimming through your IG, I didn't know what was fake and what was real. So, there was like a couple things that I had,
Yeah.
just random questions. I think it was more of like the earlier stuff that I didn't really know. Uh, oh, the Forbes under
Yeah.
30. Was that real?
Yeah, that was real. So that was it's not the actual like the actual Forbes like I'm rich as fuck Forbes. It's like a student version. So every year they choose college students to represent like a cohort of Forbes students.
Yeah.
And so it's like a application process and you submit about like what you're doing in college and all that stuff. So it's I'm a Forbes 30 under 30 scholar for the 2019 year, but it's not like I wasn't on the actual Forbes list.
No,
Yeah,
but I
but
mean,
a lot of people were asking me about that too. Yeah,
well, it's just because you're big on photoshopping yourself
yeah,
into things, and I'm all for that. But there was just different times where I'm like, is this
yeah,
real? Is this not real?
yeah, yeah. Someone asked me as well. I posted a picture with Kamaya a while back, and everyone was asking me like, "Is that real? Is that real?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is actually real." Like, the other ones I
How
post are fake. Yeah,
what made you start doing that then? The whole Photoshop, because Mike and I are pretty well. He's more in the Photoshop,
yeah,
Adobe Illustrator. I do more photo manipulation, where I love to take pictures, especially landscapes of where I travel to,
yeah,
and then I'll edit the people out of it.
yeah, yeah.
So that's one of my favorite things to do. But how did you start off with the whole editing thing?
Yeah, I mean, I just like to have fun, you know. Like I started learning in high school, and then since then, I kind of just kept playing with it, and it was free through Berkeley. Photoshop was free, so I kind of just kept doing like side projects here and there. And it's really just I'll just randomly come up with an idea and I'll be like, let me just execute it. But it's never like the thing is, on Photoshop I'm good at manipulation but not so good with like actual design. Like I know some people are good at like drawing, and like I even bought like a little pad once, like a
Mm-hmm.
bamboo pad, to start sketching and see if I could do some stuff. But I'm not a great artist, but I can manipulate. So like I said, I just like to do some fun stuff, and I just see like a lot of my flyers that I have posted on my page are also Photoshop.
Got
Just
it.
because like I feel like a lot of the times we're so used to these like cookie cutter like flyers that everyone posts with like the like either like a hot chick in the front or like a whole bunch of bottles and stuff. Like for
Mm-hmm.
I was like, let me switch it up. So like I did like I had some pretty cool ones like the Bart one. The Bart one's pretty cool. And we saw
Yeah.
that one. Yeah, put me and Hype Man's name on the Bart sign, and like Pandora as well. I was spinning at Pandora karaoke, so I photoshopped me and Mike Cool and the twins' name on the Pandora building in downtown Oakland. Just because I was just kind of trying to connect the dots and make something fun, but I actually almost got in trouble for that one.
That
But
that's the thing I was going to ask you. Would companies eventually get upset at certain things like this?
I don't think so. I mean, some people have commented that on my posts because I did one once with like Live Nation where I photoshopped like one of their concert tickets to put like to make it like a Pappy's night.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I don't think so. I think I'm so small that like I
It
have like
doesn't.
6,000 followers. Like it's really nothing to them. Like unless I was really slandering their name or something, or creating content that's kind of offensive to them, then they might have like a legal team. But it's just like small edits. Like I highly doubt something like that. The only time I did like this Pandora thing was because the Pandora karaoke who I was DJing for, they reached out and they're like, you know what, like we don't want to run into any name like legal issues
Mm-hmm.
with the actual Pandora, you know. But I'm like, that Pandora already has legal issues in itself with Pandora jewelry. So I'm like, they can't really, because it's, you know, you can't trademark certain things that are already like huge like that, like a name like Pandora that stems from like Greek mythology and
Yeah,
stuff. That just some words you can't.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you kind of don't
mythology,
have a
man.
grasp on.
Man,
Yeah.
that's crazy. No, I think people don't give DJs enough credit in general. And I'm talking. I actually had a discussion with Mike about it. As the DJ community, especially right now with the social media age, you guys are more just a DJ. I
Yeah.
laugh with Mike. Like, you guys are techies in a way because you need to know all the gear. You know,
Yeah.
mixers, mics, all these wires that you guys run. You have to know marketing because you're marketing yourself, you're brand building yourself. You have to know communication. There's a lot of things that go into, building your guys' selves as DJs. So
Yeah, there's been a lot of memes going around, like, you know, like kind of like same thing as you're saying, like DJs have to do a little bit of everything now. Like they're the marketers, they're the promoters, they're like they make their own flyers. And yeah, I think it's true. Like I feel like in an age like this, like you kind of have to take advantage of the resources you have available. And really, like Instagram has become like the resume for DJs. And I've
mhm.
talked to like Mike Cole and like other DJs about this, and really the way that we've been able to get gigs is just through what we show on Instagram. So that's
Mhm.
really like our, you know, like our go-to for promoting ourselves. And the more you're able to step it up on there, I feel like people will really look at that. And so that's why when I started doing those creative flyers, at first they were like a little weird. People like didn't know how to receive them. But then after a while, when I was getting hit up by promoters and stuff, they're like, "Yo, like I saw those dope flyers you were making," and like it just kind of provides like a unique aspect for you, you know. So I
Yeah.
definitely agree that I feel like whoever's able to like really use Instagram and just social media more effectively, I think, is able to be one step ahead of the game. And like, you know, I was just talking to Mike as well because I saw that, you know, y'all put together that website, and that even in itself, like for like a DJ like Mike to have like a website already, like that's like
Oh,
super
okay. I
dope.
was like, which website? I was like, we've worked on a
Oh yeah,
bunch of
his
projects.
website.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
his website has been, a lot of it is his credit. I'll chime in
yeah.
there, give him, a little bit of my thought or my advice. But he's definitely a creative dude. It's funny because that's actually how him and I became friends. We sat in class together in common, and Mike would always be doodling
Oh,
on his note.
nice.
Like, next time you hang out with him, or ask him about his notebooks. Like, you'll just
Yeah.
find Ninja Turtle doodles and
Oh wow.
this guy called Bo Jenkins. It's this chicken, and
Yeah.
Mike would draw it all the time. So I could definitely see. I know he made a big lane for himself in the little video / GIF market for his
Yeah.
flyers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know it's cliche,
Yeah.
but
I remember when he first reached out to me. Oh no, go ahead.
oh well, actually, I was going to ask you: do you hear a
Mhm.
distortion in the audio, or is that just me?
No, it sounds fine to me. Do I sound
Interesting.
distorted?
No, you're fine. It's just when I'm talking, I'm hearing a distortion, and I'm just worried that maybe in the
Oh
backlog it's gonna be messed up. I hope not. I
no,
don't
you
think so. I don't.
sound fine to me.
Let me double check something. Everything seems fine. So
Yeah, you
yeah,
sound fine on
perfect.
my
Okay,
end.
then I should be fine. Well, I was gonna say I know it sounds cliche, but I don't. I met you in Berkeley. I think that was the first time when I went to Pappy's. That was
Yeah.
the first time I ever met you. So I don't really know your story per se. So how did you
Yeah.
specifically get into DJing?
Yeah. So I started off. It's been funny. So I've been like not deep. So I've only been in the club scene for like 2 years. So not that much, but I've been messing around with like controllers and stuff, just like everyone else starts off like for a really long time. So since I was in high school, so maybe like let's say like 6 years, maybe 6, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the way I got interested in it was because I actually went to school with DJ J12. So I don't know if you're familiar with. It's like a
Yeah,
really big DJ from the Bay Area, and he was like created the slow down dance for Clyde Carson.
dude. Of
So he
course,
was
dude.
actually the
J12's a
DJ.
legend.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
shouldn't
So
even
he
be a
was.
question.
I know. I was just wondering because unfortunately a lot of people don't know who he is. I'm like, damn. Like, you're from the Bay, you gotta know who J12 is.
I mean, he's
But
also Derek King's DJ, right? If I'm not.
yeah, Filthy Rich and Derek King.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he was a DJ at my school, and he did all of our dances and stuff like that. And he graduated the year that I came in as a freshman. So once he left, there's kind of like this void that was left to be filled. Like who was DJing like our like school lunches, like who was DJing like during the school meetings. And so I kind of was like, you know what, maybe I could do it. So I became like the audio person, kept like setting up the audio. I eventually ended up buying my own controller, and I'd always see him DJing the dances. And so from there, that kind of led like for me to get really involved in it. And it wasn't until I got to college that I went to a club event for one of my organizations, and I showed up early and I saw the dude that was DJing, and I was like, yo, what's up? Like, what are you DJing on? He's like, oh, I just downloaded like a 4-hour Skrillex mix, and I'm just going to play this the whole night.
Oh my
And I was like, wait, what?
God.
He's like, yeah. He's like, we couldn't find a DJ, so I just downloaded this mix, and I'm just going to let it run. I'm like, dude, like I know a little bit of DJing, like I can like maybe hook up. And he's like, yo, really? And he's like, yeah. So then I just ran to my dorm, grabbed my laptop, came back, and at the time, like I couldn't connect to his equipment, so I just DJed like aux, like off my laptop, and ended up being super successful night. Like everyone had a really good time, and so then for the next event, they ended up booking me again. So this time, I was all prepared and stuff. And funny enough, it was actually at Pappy's, because Pappy's is right next to Berkeley, and so a lot of student organizations book like Pappy's as like a venue, and so it ended up being at Pappy's, and yeah, like one thing led to another, and I just ended up kind of skyrocketing my DJ thing, because then like people who attended the event were like, oh, like you DJ my frat party, you DJ my sorority party, and I kind of just kept building like a repertoire like that, and just kept like learning about that whole scene. So then yeah, fast forward like 2 years later, I ended up getting a residency at Kips, which is like around the corner from Pappy's. So I was there for a bit, and then after that, I ended up leaving Kips to join Pappy's. And so it's kind of been from there, that's kind of where everything took off, because at Pappy's, they give me a platform. I was the head DJ. So I was able to bring in other DJs, and that helped me connect with a lot of other DJs from the Bay Area. I like kind of traded gigs with other DJs. I like with Mike, I'd be like, yo, Mike, coming up Pappy's, and you bring me to Skylark type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that with a whole bunch of DJs in the Bay. So really, it's funny because I haven't been taking this super seriously until about like 2 years ago. And in that time, I feel like I've already like been able to connect with a lot of the Bay Area DJ community, and I'm just really excited for what's to come. Like one thing I tell Mike all the time is that, like, I think this was like 4 or 5 years ago, I was watching videos on YouTube of like Bay Area DJs, and I saw his submission video for like a KML Summer Jam like competition, and I was like, damn, like that dude's hella dope. Like I want to meet him someday. And like now it's crazy because now like I brought him into Pappy's, like we're killing all these events together, like doing all these battles together. And so yeah, it's definitely been like a quick journey in terms of like me taking it seriously. It was mostly like 4 or 5 years of just like messing around on a controller for fun, and then 2 years of actually just like serious, like learning the ins and outs of like turntablism and like just the whole DJ fiasco.
There's so much that we can go from there, but first of all, shout out to Pappy's for their, I think it's $4 or $5 vodka cranberries. They come in clutch.
No, it's super cheap. $4.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Pappy's
I love
it. Pappy's has some of the cheapest drinks in Berkeley. They do have the cheapest drinks in Berkeley, so which is why a lot of people come to Pappy's.
I remember the first time I went, $20 went a long way.
Yeah, no,
which is great, because any other club it's $10 plus for a drink, and you're like, I don't want that. No, at Pappy's, and everyone seems to have a good time there.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a unique crowd, because sometimes you'll get like the sorority girls, other days you'll get the Latina organizations, other days you'll get like some random like business students who just want to come in and vibe out. So like it's really one of those places where you can't have the same playlist. Like you have to know how to play to a crowd. Because you never know who's going to walk to the door. And so that's one thing that I like about Pappy's, that it kind of keeps me on my toes.
Did you, do you mind me asking, what did you go to school for?
So I did business marketing in Spanish.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it obviously shows I think what people forget is that marketing it's not just, how can I say, it's how you sell a product or anything. It's how you sell yourself. It's how you sell yourself to other people. And I think you did really the groundwork of what every business or anyone that's trying to build a brand is doing. Free gigs to get noticed is what you did, right? You're like, hey, I'll do that thing. And then networking with people within the industry, and then helping them, even though they might not have something of benefit to you. You'd be surprised of how much that actually impacts you when you do something for someone when it's not going to benefit you at all.
Yeah, no, that's one thing as well. Like I'd always book DJs at Pappy's, regardless if they could hook me up with a reciprocal opportunity. Like I'd be like, you want to come and spin, just come and spin, because you'll never know when they will have an opportunity. Like although they may not have a residency somewhere now, they may have one in the future, and then they can hook you up. So it's not even about like looking at it like networking. You're building friendships. Like I've been able to really connect with a lot of these DJs, and like I've made them like my close buddies, and I've been able to like hit them up if I ever need anything. And so I feel like sometimes people think it can come off as fake, like, oh, like I'm just booking him so he can book me with him. But at the same time, it's like you're kind of creating a bond within the Bay Area DJ community. And I feel like that's something that's super dope, that I feel like right now, I like, that's kind of my goal right now, where I've been trying to connect with as many DJs from the Bay as I can. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like right now I have probably about like 70% of the market where I've like personally DM'd them, just being like, yo, like I admire like your work ethic, or like I really like your mashups, or whatever the case may be. Like one small message really goes a long way. And I
Yeah,
feel like that's when a lot of
100%.
people who are like maybe are not getting the exposure. Yeah, a lot of people who are not getting the exposure that they want. Is like, so I mean, how are you putting yourself out there? Like what are you doing to really show face? Like you can have like a favorite DJ, but if you don't message them, then they won't ever know you. So the approach that I take is you never know until you try.
That, and it's how are they speaking about you when you're not there, right? I think that goes big
Yeah.
way, and that's how a lot of gigs actually get landed. Is so and so might need a DJ,
Yep.
they might not be able to do it because they're busy, they're already booked, or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. But it's like, what, I got this guy, my friend, he's a really good DJ, talented, give him a
Yeah.
ring, maybe he can take care of you. And I've seen that happen
Yeah. Yeah.
firsthand with Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been so many of those. Like one of my biggest opportunities today has been the Gasolina party, which happened like before this whole COVID situation happened. And that one, like I personally reached out to the promoters, and I was like, yo, like I'm really interested in doing this gig. And they're like, yeah, like, we're actually looking for some people. Like we'll see if we can add you to the lineup, because we're looking at other people right now. And like a few weeks went by, and then I ended up getting booked and stuff. But then later, through like random conversation, I found out that like DJ Basic, who's like also really known in the Bay, like
Yep.
apparently they asked him at first, because he was supposed to do the event, but he wasn't able to, and he like was the one of the people that referred me to that role. And so because of that, I was able to like land that spot. And I was like, damn, like Basic, I've actually never met Basic. Like we've connected via Instagram. I tuned into his Twitch streams and stuff, but I've never actually met him in person. Actually I did. That's a lie. I met him at a Drake concert. Super funny, like super, super. I recognized him. I'm like, yo, are you DJ Basic? He was like, yeah. And I was like, yo, what's up? I follow you on Instagram. And this is before I even like was like at Pappy's and stuff. But that doesn't really count as a meet. But anyways, yeah. So like, there's always things like that where like you'll end up getting bookings just because you know somebody who you've connected with in the past. And that's the really dope thing, that like DJs are willing to help each other out. Like me and Mike have helped each other out a lot. And when I needed help at Pappy's, I was like, I think Mike would be perfect for this. And so I brought him on, and we were killing it, and hopefully keep
Yeah,
killing it when we get back.
he's definitely a guy who loves to play for the crowd. So
Hmm.
I can see how happy he, it just goes hand in hand. But
Yeah.
it's funny. I've actually, yeah, I have heard nothing bad from DJ Basic. I don't know if I've met him. I think I've met him once, but I just heard he's a really nice guy. That reminds me of a time when Mike and I first met DJ Shabazz. Uh,
Oh yeah.
we were at, oh my god, I forgot what club it was. What's the one that's kind of by the pier by Embarcadero? I think it's the Rock. Yeah, the Rock.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
what was it?
The
What was
Rock.
it before the Rock? It was something else before the
Uh,
Rock.
I forget.
Yeah, but it was crazy.
Yeah.
We because Mike was opening, I think, for Shabazz, and then when we got there, Shabazz came with like all of his group, and all I remember is seeing Ace of Spades on like 5 tables, and then when Shabazz started spinning, at one
Damn.
point, Mike and I just saw money flying in the air, just coming down all over us. It was like it was one of those where like,
That's
yo, we
crazy.
aren't even in Vegas, and this thing is happening. I actually
Yeah.
want to take it a step back. I recall myself taking photography and art
Hmm.
classes in high school, and looking back, I know that really flourished, my creative stuff. Do you
Yeah.
think that what you experienced in high school, you taking those audio and visual, was it a class or is it just something you did?
Yeah, so I had a digital media arts class, and that's where I got my first introduction into Photoshop, and like video editing and stuff like that. Like we used what was available on the Mac, so like iMovie and stuff. And from there, I did end up doing like another internship in high school at like at a local TV station um, that worked with like the Oakland Unified School District. So that's where I learned a little more in depth with like Final Cut Pro and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So those are the only main two things that I did on that end, but everything else is self-taught. So like because those two kind of fueled my passions for that, like everything else was just me learning, like watching YouTube tutorials for hours and just like messing around with Photoshop and all that stuff. And then when I got to Berkeley, the job that I had for 4 years was actually a digital media assistant. So I was like editing videos all day, creating promotional materials, and through that in itself, I was just like, whenever I had a question, I just Google it, YouTube it. And so most of it is self-taught, but like my first introduction to it was through a class in high school.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's a way to protect those classes because I
Hmm.
personally think it goes a really long way.
Yeah, no, definitely.
There was a video on TikTok, or I think it was on Twitter. It was one of them where this girlfriend was happy that her boyfriend knew how to make a normal table out of wood, and it just makes me wonder because my high school had wood shop, and you have to
Yeah,
think of wood shop amount of people that don't know how to change tires or brakes or anything
yeah,
because automotive classes are gone, and it just makes me wonder if we're gonna have less creative classes coming through because all of these art classes and all of these electives are being cut.
yeah. It's tough. I feel like one thing my mom jokes about all the time. She's like, in the future, there's gonna be like no doctors or like none of that because everyone's just like on TikTok and like doing creative digital stuff. And I'm like, like I don't think that's necessarily true, but there is some truth there that a lot of people's interests are shifting. Like, like it's funny because like, I personally don't know how to do a lot of mechanical stuff, and like older men are like, traditionally like the dad is supposed to be the one who knows how to change a tire and all that. But I personally never really learned any of that. And so, but I do know like all the digital side. I can like do all the tech stuff for my family. So
But
it's interesting to see like where that shift is going to happen.
well, and here's the crazy thing, because of the digital world, there have been times where maybe my dad wasn't there at the time, but I learned how to change a
Hmm.
tire through YouTube. I learned how
Yeah.
to, change oil through YouTube. I
Yeah.
learned how to build certain things through YouTube. So I definitely see how it all goes hand in hand. And now that we have it digitally, maybe, we can
Yeah.
create these digital courses for kids or even us just to learn. I just feel it
Yeah.
goes a long way.
In this guy that's been going viral recently, it's like some guy made a YouTube channel. He like guess he grew up without a dad, so all he does is just like do tutorials on like stuff that dads typically teach. So like changing the oil in your car, like changing a tire, like stuff like that. And I've been seeing a lot of posts about him on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. And but yeah, I think like, we're definitely in a world where even now with the quarantine, like a lot of learning is online, and a lot of it is shifting that way. And like I was even considering maybe doing like a few courses online, like because Harvard and like MIT and Berkeley are offering like free online courses right now. And I'm like, damn, like that's kind of clutch. Like like typically you have to pay thousands of dollars for these courses, but they're just free and online, available on your computer. So it's like we have to take advantage of what we have.
No, dude, and that's the thing, man. That's I can be all a Debbie Downer about it, but we lack structure as humans, I think, or as society. We lack structure. We lack drive at times, especially in times of the quarantine.
Mhm.
Like Nike had
Yeah,
free classes that normally, like you said, cost hundreds of dollars. They were all free
yeah,
for a little while. I personally
wow,
took the time to study stocks
yeah,
and relearn and funny enough, in working, I'm my first week of trading, I made $600. So
oh wow,
it's, I don't know, like I see that there's so much potential, yet there's a lot of people that aren't really doing anything. But this is a question I think we're going to be asking a lot of our guests in general, because of a lot of my friends being in the music industry or just fashion or some type of creative field. But how do you think, especially with you being a DJ, how's it going to get back to normal? Do you think there ever be a normal? I was telling Mike things need to change big time, because I think in California alone, we're not going to have any big events till 2021, I believe.
yeah. I think that's definitely a reality that people have to come to fact with. That definitely like things are going to be really different, and until there's a vaccine, like stuff is really gonna it's gonna be tough to really think of things going back to normal. And even if that vaccine, like depending to what extent it really works to, like I know I've been reading a lot of articles where people are saying that this might become like the flu, where like people die from it annually, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, if you think about it, if that does become a thing, that means we will have to normalize like face masks and like social distancing, because this virus is different like than the flu. So like if it's gonna be a thing, if it's gonna be kind of normalized, quote unquote, in society, like we also have to normalize the other aspects that come with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely tough. I don't know. Like I think that everything's in a limbo. Like we don't really know. Like you know, like from the medical side, like the public health side, like there's all these different things that are coming together, and I feel like it's finally coming to a point where it's starting to kind of we're seeing the full extent of what's happening. And I feel like now we're at a point where people can start looking at what are the potential options for the future. Because I feel like the first few weeks, the first like even months, like everyone was like what is this? It was so new to everyone. Like we didn't know like how to deal with it, like what is even social distancing and stuff like that. But now that we've kind of it's become part of our daily routine, I feel like now we can take everything that we've learned and start applying that to to the actual like industry. Whether because I know for example like Nate Rios,
Mm-hmm.
he told me that he does that Rosie's, and he said that they're reopening for like takeout, and I think they're gonna have him spinning like outside at a booth, like kind of away from
Interesting.
everyone.
Interesting.
So that's already like one implementation, right, of like something that wasn't happening before. But now that we realize like like what the situation is, like we can assess everything in regards to social distancing and like sanitary operations. I feel like now we can start to come up with solutions. And I feel like that's going to be the biggest thing right now is whoever can hit that $1 million question, like, or solution of like how everything's going to operate, I think is really going to be the next like big company, cause I feel like right now we're kind of come up with all these solutions. And yeah, I know it's definitely interesting. It's really tough to say. I've been thinking about like how it's going to look like, and even just at Pappy's, right? Just because I was a resident at Pappy's, like when is it that this will all come back to normal? And honestly, I don't think it's happening anytime soon.
No, yeah, man. It's we're living in a crazy world, whether we want to admit it or not. I was telling
Yeah,
Mike that we need to create some form of touchless environment within the club industry. It's way
yeah,
too it's just old. It's old system. We're still paying cash at the door. That shouldn't be happening anymore.
yeah,
You're still doing all these things cash related at the bar. There just has to be a way that we can get into a touchless society. We have too much technology for
yeah,
us to not be there already. And at least that's just,
yeah. And see, and
go.
yeah, and see, and that's an idea in itself. Like whatever company or like whatever can develop a system that like clubs and businesses can easily implement. It's like in that aspect is gonna just take off, But like there's so many little things like that. Being having touchless like options is just one aspect of it. But then you have to deal with like the internal thing, like the architecture of the buildings. Like I saw this one restaurant that I think is having everyone like put on huge floaties or something. Like so you walk around and you're technically like 6 feet away from everyone. So like, I mean, those are obviously a little more out of the box, but like it's kind of getting somewhere, where like we're kind of like coming up with these ideas, trying to figure out, which one is the best one. And I feel like whoever comes up with the best one is gonna take off.
Dude, that's been the motto of this podcast. It's adapt or get left behind. Like and as cruel as it sounds, it's just the reality of it, man. It's
Yeah.
if you're a business and you don't adapt, if you're a brand and you don't adapt, you will get left behind. And that segues perfectly
Yeah.
into online streaming right now. It's been really big, and it's gone to a point though where sometimes I don't even know which DJ to listen to or go on, because all you guys
Yeah.
are really good. And I'm like, 5 DJs will be streaming at the same time. But I do realize
Yeah.
a lot of you guys are making good amount of money streaming versus what you guys would actually make at
Mhm.
a club.
Yeah. So I'm one of the few DJs who hasn't been streaming at all. So from the beginning, it was just a little, I don't know, like it didn't really call my name. And
Mm-hmm.
I did my research in regards to like, what equipment to get and all this stuff. And I was like, you know what, I think I'm just going to stay away. I've spoke to other DJs as well who are kind of staying away, like Sean Looney. We've also been I don't really see myself streaming anytime soon. And but I've definitely seen a lot of DJs who are making tons of money. Like I've been getting into Miles Medina's streams, and like every other message is like his, like people asking for his Venmo. And then like Four Color Zach, one of the first streams that he did via Prime, and like if you do that, it's like $4.99. Like each.
Don't worry, I can hear you. You're frozen, and I'm not. But obviously, it's probably on your end. Can you hear me? We're good.
Yeah, yeah. You just kind of cut off for a little bit. I don't know where.
Yeah. So we left off with you saying that Four Color Zach was streaming and that people were using his Amazon Prime to subscribe on Twitch.
Oh yeah. So every time people subscribe, like he also gets a cut of that subscription. So it's crazy to see like a whole bunch of DJs like that are getting money. Like I was watching one of my favorite DJs, ADMC. So yeah, there's definitely been a lot of DJs that have been for sure getting money, but unfortunately it's tougher for smaller DJs to do that. Like if you're a big name like them, like you'll have people tuning in, but at least the ones that I've seen, like DJs who I've seen on a smaller scale, have for sure been struggling to like, get a few views. But just because moving on to Twitch is such a different fiasco, like we don't like, you're like, for someone like me, I have 0 followers on Twitch. So if I were to go live, no one's going to watch unless I really promote it. So that brings it back to the whole thing we were just talking about marketing. Like unless a DJ knows how to market themselves and is able to get their fan base over to Twitch, like they're not really, the donations are not going to be there. So
yeah, and that's the thing. People have to remember though that just because you're not getting thousands or millions of views doesn't mean that you're not making money, because if 10 people donate $10, that's $100. That's only 10 viewers. The last Twitch stream that Mike had, I think, had anywhere from $500 to $700. I mean, 700 viewers. So even if each one of those viewers donated $1, that's more than he would normally make in one night. And then that's kind of what I'm seeing out of this. And I guess that's the next segue to what you recently did for Berkeley, which is probably one of the craziest things and a world's first, I believe, if we would say so myself. Like what a grad party or graduation party on Minecraft.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Hold up. Let me get this straight. Did you help build, or you just helped orchestrate, or what did you play your hand in? Because I believe also Little B and I Am Sue were the other 2 guests, music wise.
Yeah. So I was introduced to the project through a friend who joined the original building team, like the team who was already building it, and he kind of came in and he realized the potential to scale this into something way bigger. And so I came in to help out with like the marketing and like the artist booking aspect, because I had just came off from organizing the other project that I was working on, Dream World.
Yes, which I want to talk about after this, please.
Yeah, so he saw that I was doing that, and he's like, you know what, like we're thinking of maybe doing a music festival with this like Minecraft replica of UC Berkeley that we just made. And I was like, oh, that sounds super dope. Yeah, like I'm definitely down. So my role was mostly that. So like I helped bring in I Am Sue, like help secure other artists. And so I was part of that committee, like helping on the marketing end. Eventually kind of grew a lot, and we ended up outsourcing the project to there's like a marketing team based out of Italy. And so they were the ones that took over the project and kind of scaled it even bigger. But yeah, my original like thing was, so number one, I was a performer, obviously. I had a set as a DJ, and then the other part was I helped with like the coordination of the event, per se.
How does that work though? How do you live stream music into Minecraft?
So that was all done by like the back end technical team. So I mean, they all have that set up. Like I didn't really look into that kind of stuff. But yeah, we had a whole team behind that, and we had NVIDIA and Razer and Microsoft themselves as sponsors, and so they were helping out our technical team in regards to like getting server space and all that stuff. So yeah, because I'm actually not sure how that runs. Yeah, if I wouldn't not be able to do it on my own if I tried.
Because I know I Am Sue had his like own figurine, and you had your own like figurine within Minecraft. Were you DJing live, or was it a pre-recorded set?
Yeah, it was pre-recorded. Yeah, there's no way you can do that live. It was a pre-recorded set. I sent in my audio, I sent in my visuals, and then they had a. I was actually supposed to be like my character, like on the stage moving, but we had some technical difficulties last minute. Like they couldn't teleport me to the stage, so luckily they had created already a character for me. So some random person was on stage, just kind of moving around, pretending they were me. But for every artist, that's what we did. We had them submit a photo to us, and we had a team of designers who created their characters for them. And if they wanted to log into a Minecraft account, we could teleport them to the stage. But if not, then we had a team member just like moving around, pretending to be them.
See, that's I had this talk with my friend Aziz, and he was like one of the first guys on the podcast about
Mhm.
how he's like, "Do you really think concerts can go virtual?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's already happening. Like
Yeah.
it's not a question." And as soon as Travis Scott, the thing with Fortnite,
Fortnite.
that like blew my mind. And then I saw you do it with
Yeah.
Minecraft, and that just leads to the potential ideas of you know playing with your favorite artist, or having a concert, and these I don't know, these creative people I know can come up with
Yeah.
something to have some sort of virtual concert live for a good
Hmm.
cause, which leads into, can you explain what Dreamfest was? Because I tried looking into it more and I was still a little confused, because
Yeah. So,
what is it, a
yeah, go ahead.
virtual festival?
Yeah, so it was a virtual festival. So, I work with this company called We Dream Worlds, and we put on live events. And so we had actually a live festival coming up in June at the San Jose Civic. But because of COVID, we had to cancel. So we're like, how can we still make this happen, but like um, at a different scale? And so we saw some very early music festivals that were being organized. Um, and we kind of got inspiration from that. And we're like, we have a lot of connections and resources that we can reach out to. And so we're like, why don't we start our own festival and raise money for charity, specifically for COVID. And so yeah, so that's what we did. We started reaching out to as many artists as we could. One thing led to another. Our lineup ended up having over 45 different artists, and so all the sets were pre-recorded. Obviously, because it's just so hard to coordinate like 45 live sets, and the festival was across 3 days, and so there was just no way we were going to be able to do it live. And so yeah, we confirmed all these artists, had some pretty big names on there like Dioro, Adventure Club. Um, and so yeah, so this is something we worked on for a few weeks, and being super huge, we got over like 5 million views across different platforms. So we streamed on Twitch. We brought in Bands in Town as a partner, and so we streamed on their channel that already had like a pretty decent following. We partner with LiveX Live, who like has their like is people are able to stream through like their cars, through like their Apple TV, like their Roku's. So that gave us even more viewers. And yeah, it was super dope project that we were able to like work with these amazing artists and be one of the first just online music festivals. And yeah, but I was kind of like on the end of, so my official role is CFO, so I'm the chief festival officer. So I do most of the operations for our music festivals. But since this was a virtual one, it was a little bit different. So this is definitely something to that I use like as like a first time, like getting my hands wet in like the whole digital space. And that helped like lead to other opportunities like the Minecraft thing.
And that's great. Can you disclose how much you guys made for charity or no?
Yeah, that's all public. You can find that on our page. I think we made around,
I don't know if you
I
posted
should
it.
know this information off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure we made like I can just go to I just dreamworldfest.com. All the information is public. I think we made like 45K. I think our goal was 5K. But people were just exhausted from donating to all these other major
Yeah,
festivals that like
45,000 raised for
unfortunately,
charity.
yeah, 45.
Nice, man. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you guys, are making a huge difference. It's, yeah, when I saw CFO, coming from business, I was like, oh, he's a chief financial officer. I didn't know Gibrawn did that kind of stuff. But now saying chief,
Yeah, it was confusing. A lot of people ask me that too. Like, are you into finance? I'm like, no, I should probably find a different name for that. We do have a CFO, but she's actually in finance.
Well, man, dude. Well, thank you again for
Yeah.
even doing this. I really hope the audio is good because I keep hearing some back, and
Yeah.
it might be these headphones. I might just have to get some better headphones. I don't know if there's any you recommend, but
Yeah.
um, I don't think Apple's kind of cutting it out for what we're doing.
Well, right now I'm using my Beats. So that's where it's picking up my
Got it.
uh my audio. I don't know how I sound, but
No, you sound great. There
yeah,
was
I also need to get it. You go ahead.
there was also like some glitching, so I think overall I'm probably gonna have to do some editing when it comes to
Okay.
the audio stuff, but it should be fine. I there was probably like two more things that crossed my mind before we get going. First off,
Yeah, go ahead.
we need to talk because then once this whole thing blows over, there was an idea that I had, but if I can bypass, I wanted to do like a proof of concept first, and then you know blow it up and almost make this a tour. And I think you might be
Yeah.
perfect for it. And once I tell you the idea, you're gonna be like, I'm in. I already know. It's a dude. Trust me. I've already worked on not necessarily the logo, but where I want it to look, and if we can get the
Yeah.
right partners behind us, bro, it's a no-brainer. Trust me. Once I tell
All
you,
right.
and now you
Go
got me
ahead.
thinking of like we can do this online and not even
Yeah.
wait for this to get fixed because I can probably
Mm,
do it online and make it go even bigger.
yeah.
But one of the things I saw
Yeah,
on your
definitely.
Instagram as well, which touched me dearly, was you are you the first of your family to graduate from university?
Yeah, I am.
So what does that mean
Yep.
to you, man? Because I share the same boat. I was the first of my family
Mhm.
to graduate from university, and I saw that it really touched your family. So I don't know if you could share a
Yeah.
little bit on that.
And it's crazy. Like it's I'm the first in my family to graduate. Like not just my immediate family, but my entire like family tree. Like if you look at like my dad's side and my mom's side, like all my cousins and uncles and everyone, like no one's been to college. And so for me, that was like a huge thing to be like the first person in my entire family tree to like, go to college and graduate. And I think that it's been crazy because now like I had a cousin who just graduated from Berkeley as well. She came in a year after me. And so it's crazy to see that we're kind of leaving a legacy behind, and it feels really good to know that I'm creating that change. And now I have other cousins who are starting college as well. And like, they've told me personally that I've been like, one of their motivating factors, and like they look up to me. And I also have 5 siblings who like look at me as well and like ask me all these questions about college. And so it's crazy to see how like I'm kind of setting like an example for them. And so I think that's also why I've been able to like motivate myself sometimes when I'm down, or like when I feel like stuff's getting rough. And it's also been able to make me a better person because I'm constantly looking at my next move. And I try to be careful with the things that I say, things that I do, the way that I portray myself online and stuff like that, because I know that I have so much behind me where like my whole family is kind of counting on me to like be this person. So yeah, like it's definitely insane, like just like having all my family like constantly referring to me as like the kind of like, not the golden child, but just like the one who like made it. It's crazy. So my goal is just to keep sharing that knowledge with as many my little cousins and like siblings as I can, and just keep spreading the message of like just making the best out of yourself. And I've had some cousins who like already mentioned like like I don't really think I want to go to college, but just motivating them to follow their passions and whatever. The school is not for everyone, but as long as you're happy with what you're doing, I think that's really what matters. So yeah, man, it's crazy. Like it's dope. Like obviously the feeling. It's like I think the thing for me is just realizing how to move forward, and because it doesn't stop here. Like this is just one huge accomplishment and like in my journey. And I hope to just keep doing more professional side, like with my event personal stuff and the DJ side. And so we'll see. Like I said, I
And
feel like I'm barely getting started.
it's crazy that you say that, right? The thing that really resonated with me is like if you're doing what makes you happy, that's what matters.
Hmm.
And I strongly agree with that. I genuinely believe if you do what makes you happy and if you're happy, you make more money. And people don't
Yeah.
seem to understand that. When you're happy, money just happens to it money
Yep.
flows towards happiness, money towards, flows towards positive energy, whether you want to believe that or not. I personally think that's true. I've seen it happen for
Yep.
myself and a lot of my friends. Um, but I actually did not want to go, pursue higher education. I I think I was just going through, what teenagers go through at the time. And,
Yeah.
but it changed my life. It's what led me to meet Mike. It's what led me to meet Chris. And it's what led me into this crazy, music industry, and me
Yeah.
doing film, and me doing photography, and me doing events. And
Yeah.
half the things I've done in my life wouldn't have been possible if I didn't, follow that road. So
Yeah.
it changes your life, and it definitely shows. So even if maybe you're not interested in, go find out what you're interested in. You'll
Yeah.
definitely find it in college. But we'll leave
Yeah.
it off with that. And what can we expect next from you, man? What are some projects you're working on, or what's some things you can let me know?
Yeah. So right now I've been in like plan mode, kind of like scheme mode. So I haven't been putting out too much content. Like I put up one routine like when this whole thing first started coming up, but then I was like, you know what, I kind of have to sit back and like rethink the situation and see how I'm moving forward. And to be honest, I'm still in that process. Like I've been, like I said, I haven't really been doing any live stuff, but I've been working more so on developing my website, trying to create a new logo, developing like all my branding aspects. So like fixing up my Instagram, like my socials, making sure everything connects. So a lot of the back end type stuff, working on my music libraries, organizing all that. And then I've also on the professional side, been applying to jobs and trying to get something like that. And so, yeah, it's tough. Like I don't really know what to say. I do have a few mixes that I'm going to be releasing soon on some podcasts. So that's probably the most immediate thing that y'all can expect. But besides that, like, I really don't know what my next move is going to be, but I'm hoping that it's a big one.
Nice, man. Well, I'm excited. Like I said, as soon as I get off, I'll send you a picture of the thing that I'm working on, and I'll shoot you like a little brief description of what it is. Mike already
Yeah,
knows what it
definitely.
is. He thinks it's a great idea, and I already have a location, but I'm rethinking about moving it to a better location.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I mean, this whole COVID thing, man, it's really messed up a lot of my ideas
Yeah.
and everything else. But like I say, if we do not adapt, you get left behind, brother. So thank you again. I
Yeah,
really
definitely.
appreciate you even taking the time to do this, man.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you
Dude, yeah,
thinking
no.
about me.
Once
I don't really consider myself someone who. No, go ahead.
oh, I was just saying, once this is over, man, we definitely got to relink up again. And
Oh,
I just didn't really go to Pappy's a lot because I would go there. We would finish 2, 3 in the morning, and go out to eat. And then by the time we got home, because it was all the way in Berkeley, it was like 4. And I was just, I think I went once or twice. And after that, I told Mike, I was like, look, bro, like I love you, but I can't go out
no,
there.
it definitely gets overwhelming. Like, Mike was only there for a little bit, so he was kind of still like loving the fact that he could go out there and like be up late. But for me, I had already been there for like a few months. Like, if I could get another DJ to cover my shift, I would. Like, I didn't even care about the money. I would just like, because it was just, I was so over staying so late, and then also having to drive back to Oakland, and it gets tiring for sure. So I could definitely see what you mean.
Bro, man, the nightlife is exhausting. And
Yeah.
people wonder why these artists go crazy, or why they, have these mental disorders. I promise
Yeah.
you, it's lack of sleep, lack of diet,
Yep.
just it. I've when you have those crazy, I mean, it's great. The money is great when you have, back-to-back gigs, when you have like a Friday gig, a Saturday gig, and a Sunday gig, or sometimes when you have like a Saturday day gig and then you still have a night gig. Those are the worst, man.
Yeah.
So
Those are crazy,
it
man.
takes a toll on your body that, yeah, people are like, you're partying, you should have fun. I'm like, yeah, it's fun, but trust me, once you're in it for such a long time, but at the same time, I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world.
Yep. Oh, yep.
Ah,
It's
brother.
definitely, like I said, I definitely see what you're saying.
Man, well, I appreciate it again. Once this gets edited, I'll
Yeah,
I'll be
man.
posting it and sending it all over to you.
Sounds perfect, bro. Looking forward to it. And
All right,
definitely send
brother.
me that project
Oh,
you're telling me
I'll text
about.
it to you right now. All right,
For
brother.
sure, bro.
Thank you.
All right, take care.